The Global Ethics Board usually meets in New York, which is where its headquarters are, but occasionally, every few years, they meet in Australia. And so we've been holding the 3-day meeting here in Sydney this week. There's a very wide representation of people in the room today, and I think that's terrific because it does reflect the significance, if you like, to the broader corporate community of standards of ethics in the accounting profession. And I'm very pleased to say, and very grateful to say, that we have John Doyle, who is the new Auditor General for Victoria, speaking with us today. And I'm sure that we'll find what you've got to say extremely interesting.
There've always been financial crises of one kind or another, and the consequences of them are always quite profound, and the reasons for them are all starkly similar. It's if we don't learn, we're not an adaptive species anymore. In this particular case, we don't actually figure it out that these things need to be managed, looked after, regulated. How can societies put themselves into situations where these things don't occur? How do we make sure that these kinds of behaviours are not rewarded, are not considered appropriate, and governments can actually impose good order? But it just seems to me that if we're to learn from this financial crisis, it's not just Auditor Generals that can be part of the solution, and they're only a small part. It's a whole array of government infrastructure and a need to actually start addressing some fundamental problems that currently exist, particularly in the North American jurisdictions. I looked at my oath of office the other day. It's got an interesting little phrase in it. It said, "I must do my work without fear, favour or affection." I have never been called affectionate by anyone that I work with. But fear, favour and affection, you've got to stand up, say your point. You might be the only person in the room that says it. Getting the evidence is quite difficult and can be hard to get across in a persuasive way. But it's got to be done. But the only way to do it is to make sure that whoever's receiving your information is actually going to take it on board and actually do something about it.
A pleasing aspect of all governments, of whatever colour, is that they now appoint extremely well-credentialed individuals to the post of Auditor General. John is highly qualified in that regard. His international experience is reflected in his remarks today. He brings the experience of diverse cultures and systems to bear on his analysis, and we're very grateful for that. The Auditor General can't stop failure, but we do need to follow through on the recommendations that he makes. So let's respond to John's suggestion. Whether we're audited in the private or public sectors, let's take note of what auditors say. Thank you, John, for your thoughts today.